Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Reviewing the Viewer's Mon series. In this episode, I'm going over a submission by Rizzla. Now, Rizzla, I thank you for sending in this Growlithe here. Very impressive that it's shiny. Shinies are pretty rare in this game, and that's a part of the discussion that I want to have here. So, the thing that Rizzla said, the note that they left for me was, I'm still relatively new to the game, ranked 39, and found this shiny Growlithe, and I'm wondering if it makes sense to invest. It has a good nature, but the good sub skills only come in at 75, 100, so I'm not sure if it makes all that much sense right now. Because it's a shiny, I'm tempted to dump the seeds and evolve it, but it wouldn't be good until 75, so just curious on your thoughts. Well, Rizzla, I've got I actually sat and pondered this one for quite a while because uh, there's a decent amount of interesting things that I have to say about this shiny Growlithe. Now, as you said, sassy nature, yes, very good nature on skill specialists. In concept, or in theory, main skill chance up, exactly what they want. XP gains down, doesn't really matter to a skill specialist because they primarily care about their main skill. So, and that's really the main skill level is where most of their strength comes from. I would much rather have a level uh, 29 skill specialist with a level 7 main skill than a level 59 or 60 skill specialist with a level 1 main skill. They primarily depend upon how many seeds of investment they have and not at all about their level. So, given that this has XP gains down, this is probably. Sassy nature is probably one of the best natures for a skill specialist overall. Now, I do have some points to make, though, about this, and there are some heavy things to be considering if you look into this Growlithe. Now, when it comes to the concept of usable shinies, shinies are pretty rare, but if you play long enough, uh, this game, they make them, the shiny odds are boosted compared to a lot of other Pokemon games because of how, slow it is to encounter more Pokemon. Uh, Eventually, with enough play, you will find a good enough one, a good shiny after a long enough play. I know me personally, I have like 3 or 4 shinies that I'd consider usable, and like two shiny Pokemon that I actually consider are really good. Maybe I've been really lucky, but that is something to consider as well. And this one does have a phenomenal nature for skill specialists. Um, so I think it is worth talking about and comparing because maybe you want to use the shiny, maybe you want to have fun, use a shiny Pokemon. It's always fun to use a shiny Pokemon. I know me personally, I've used my shiny Gardevoir, is like the poster child for. It wasn't really that great, but it was a shiny and it was kind of usable, so I use it anyway. For comparison, this is the Gardevoir that I'm talking about. As you can see here, it doesn't have main skill chance up until level 50, and it doesn't even have a good nature. It's got Jolly nature. I use this thing all the time. It's on almost all my teams, and it does well enough, despite being the healer being one of the most important roles of the team. So there is something to be said about having fun and using usable shinies. But you got to question what their role is on the team and what they are going to contribute because the greater context is important. In the case of my Gardevoir, when it comes to energy for everyone, you don't necessarily need that many procs per day because as long as it's procking enough, it's keeping the team's energy topped off. More procs don't help it all that much, so having a much better Gardevoir, as of right now in the current meta of the game, doesn't really matter. Now, when it comes to Arcanine, you gotta consider the greater context as well. What is the greater context around Arcanine? And it really is that Arcanine's best role in the current meta of the game is being paired with an Entei for stacking the skills together, both being fire types, especially using it to overstack on Pokemon in preparation. If you're not doing that, then I'd say Arcanine really needs to have Berry Finding S or Helping Bonus to contribute to either boosting the rest of the team further, but with both its skill and its sub skills, or it needs to have Berry Finding S so that when it procs on itself, unfortunately, there's always that risk that when it procs its skill, it's going to proc itself. It's just going to give you a bunch of berries. um, and if it doesn't have Berry Finding S, then when it procs on itself, that's going to be a real detriment to your overall value produced by the team. Because it could have been proccing on a berry specialist that has Berry Finding S that could have produced triple the amount of berries, or an ingredient specialist that could have dumped just a boatload of ingredients on you because it has a high ingredient finding rate. Um, If it procs on itself, that just sucks. And it's always a risk with these Pokemon, so I don't recommend using them outside of an Entei overstacking team unless you're looking at it having Berry Finding S, then there's something to say about it. So, given that this Arcanine's job really would be paired with an Entei, do you have a good Entei is a good question. If not, then it's not necessarily... I don't think there's too much of a use case for Arcanine at all in your case. Now, one day you may get a good Entei, but Arcanine without the Entei really doesn't hold up against other Pokemon in terms of actual output. This skill, Extra Helpful, is just a really, really bizarre skill in how it works. And I think it's overall one of the biggest things counting against Gallade is that Gallade doesn't have a legendary to be paired with like Arcanine and Jolteon do. But that's a whole different discussion. So, additionally, one thing that the XP gains down skill specialists have going for them is the fact that they don't really care about level. As I was saying earlier. This one, unfortunately, does care about level because it doesn't get those things that it really, really wants until level 75, 100, which, with an XP gains down nature and where you're starting off in the game, it's probably not until, like, a year, maybe 2 years, that you're looking at this guy finally reaching level 75. And when he reaches level 75, he's good. I made a quick comparison here, running it through the calculator for percentile ranks, and at level 75, it's about 1 in 18. You could catch about 19 more Growlithes, and after that many catches, you'd likely find a better one. However, before that point, it's like 72nd percentile, 50, 60, and you're looking at like 1 in 4 odds, or 1 in 9 odds for catching a better one. So, realistically, you're going to catch better things if you take more time to catch more Arcanines. If Arcanine's one of your favorite Pokemon and you are determined to use it anyway, then you can catch a better one easily. But are you going to catch a better shiny? No. Shinies are rare enough that if you specifically want a shiny Arcanine, this is going to be the best one you'll ever catch because it's likely the only one you'll ever catch. And if you do catch another one, odds are pretty slim that it's ever going to have a chance at being better than this one. So, I'd say just consider what's fun to you. If you want to use the shiny, use the shiny. Eventually this thing will be usable. And hopefully by the time that it'd be level 75, you'd be able to catch a decent, at least half decent Entei to make use of a fire overstacking team. And yeah, I guess that's really all I have to say about it. I brought up for comparison to other Arcanines here. Base Arcanine produces 3.5 procs a day. Yours is producing... well, 5.76 at that level, but I put it at level 30 because that's probably about where you're looking at right now. So 3.5 procs versus 4.2 compared to Skill Trigger M and Help Speed M, which is usually like my minimum-ish for investment in my mind. I like Skill Trigger M, Help Speed M. It's a good combo. You can usually find something with this, especially if you're premium and have access to sub-skill seeds. It's not that rare that you can get something with this. And this guy produces 5.10 per day. So, like, yeah, it's worse than others. But, like I said, you get to level 75. And let's see, how does it compare to this baseline one? It's better. It's better than what I consider to be the baseline because it's got those extra skill triggers in there. So, would I invest? I probably wouldn't at my point in the game. Should you invest? If you really want the shiny Arcanine, I'd say go for it. Because it is a shiny and that can be fun. But is it an optimal play? No. You're going to catch a better one eventually if you keep hunting the puppy, the fire pup. And you're going to probably eventually catch a better shiny in terms of what that shiny can do. So that is something to be considered as well. I have very mixed feelings about this one because the fact that it is shiny makes it more fun, and I don't want to ruin someone's fun because sometimes just that fun factor needs to be considered. So, anyway, if you guys have learned something, if you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I also did the spreadsheet the form to submit your own Pokemon is down in the comments. Please submit more Pokemon. The more submissions that I get, the more videos I can make. And yeah, so. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye now.